Alright, here's our start. And there's only 3 in our class, so didn't make for a super exciting start, but we're going to blast off here, head across this field, and we have a little loop that we do in the woods, and we came back out. This is really cool if you get a chance to watch the pro prologue. They're obviously jumping this. There was somebody who sent it earlier. I think they broke their wrists. So first bottleneck right here on the enduro course. Yeah, not a big deal. Just trying to be patient and hang out here. Let this guy in front of me kind of finagle his way through. Then as soon as they got over, I was able to make fairly quick work of this. And something I didn't realize during my initial setup was to put the GoPro on the left side, which is the same side that my hydration tube is coming out on. So that's going to be in our picture for a little bit. So sorry about that. This is the first little challenging part right out of the gate. Took this little steeper part here and then just immediately lost traction. And it was time to start pushing already. And this was probably 3 minutes into the race. This is a little brown bag that I have on the handlebars. I usually have some of that stuff stuffed in my pack, but my goal was to have snacks in there and all my GoPro batteries so that I could try and capture as much of this as I could. And it did work out pretty well, except I put some Snickers in that bag and they were very mushy by the time I got to them. Lots of little downhills with these little off-camber logs, and yeah, for me, I really struggled with it. I was like already running, I think, 75-80% of max, and just trying to keep moving. And so every time I got to a log, it was that extra bit of effort that just like put me right up against my red line time and time again. Again, sorry about the whole helmet hydration tube combo hitting the GoPro. The goal of this was to actually put together a highlight reel. Now that I'm watching it back, it seems more like a crash compilation.
Oh my gosh.
Again, there were quite a few logs that were going across the trail on these off-campers, and
50-50.
yeah, it was really starting to kind of wear on me because I had just finished a hard section, and then we'd hop back on trail, and I was like getting ready to catch my breath, and then I'd be back on the ground again. The soil was super loose, a couple inches of powder dust on top of somewhat hard pack to no hard pack.
Oh no.
One of the things I probably could have done better was just let the bike roll instead of trying to use my brakes to control my speed. And I think had I just let the bike roll through some of this stuff and just steered it, it probably would have been fine. But I was trying to keep my speed in check because I didn't really know what was ahead of me, and there was some fairly steep stuff. When it was pointed straight down, I felt like I was definitely in more control. So this was probably our first real bottleneck of the race.
Go ahead, go.
And that was a mistake. I mean, being nice is fine, but I feel like I was probably in a better position to just hop right up over that. with this was always just try and keep moving, even if it's a half mile an hour, because it's forward progress.
Half mile an hour, Gator.
I actually find it quite fun riding these little narrow gulches. For this kind of stuff, I was pretty happy with my tire setup, which was the IRC Gummy Kokoda GX8, and then I had a plushie that I drilled. And for the straight line, rocky gulch stuff, that was fine. But on a lot of the hill climbs and just anything where it was off camber, I really struggled. The back tire was so soft, it just kept rolling under. And then it made it, for me, it made it really difficult to control.
Come on.
So I think looking back, if I were to redo this, given these conditions again, I'd probably go with a taller knob and maybe just a regular plushie instead of having it drilled. I also really struggle with heat buildup. I wear a chest protector, and I feel like sometimes that just locks in the heat, and my core temperature just starts to skyrocket, and I really suffer when I get hot. Steph, the photographer, this is where she was at too, so if you're looking for pictures later, you'll probably get a few shots from here. She's standing up there on the upper right-hand side of the frame.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I got really annoyed at these random logs across the street, across the trail, I mean. I had to bleep out a bunch of stuff there, trying to keep this a bit PG.
Yeah, good.
So I finally got myself out of that mess. And then again, there was a little bit of a backup here on this log that was traversing the trail. I definitely got frustrated with these. Felt like these aren't really the things that make or break a race or a rider. Like, they're just, especially at the C-class level, for me it's like, just take these out. Like, we're already suffering hard enough everywhere else. Yeah, here's another one. Yeah, and there my bike stalled. Or I stalled the bike. And here we're going down a downhill. And yeah, maybe this is just my line choice selection, but again, logged across, that made it tricky. And then I ended up washing the front wheel out. And basically pinned between that large log and then the stump right here.
Turn off.
And taking the time to get turned around and back up to where he is. That took me probably another 15 minutes.
Nice ride.
What's that?
Nice ride.
Oh, dude, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I just got lost for like 15 minutes.
Oh shit, I'm
So
sorry.
Chad,
Oh,
this
sorry.
is Chad. We met him at
Never
the
too
race,
old.
and we ended up
Great.
syncing up and actually riding as much of the course together as we can at some point here. Chad did an awesome job of just helping me and keeping my spirits high enough to want to keep going.
Be the dumbest idea all day.
Yeah, so to the right there is where the trail goes straight down, and by the time I got to this point mentally, I was just fried, and I just my confidence level was like -5 on a scale of 0 to 100. So I just figured I would
Sorry,
go
Quinn.
off to the side and try and make it a little bit easier. Of course, that ended up being a ton of extra work. Then I had to turn the bike around. I got stuck on a bunch of branches, and it ended up definitely being way more work than it needed to be had I probably just gone straight down. But again, I just didn't have the wherewithal and like the confidence to go to do it. I was having some success on some of the hill climbs, which would give me a little bit of confidence to keep going. Riding these creeks was pretty cool, but it's like riding on glass in some spots. You'd just be putting along and the front or rear wheel all of a sudden would just jump out from underneath of you.
We'll see. Oh.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I just have short legs.
So the guy I was talking to here actually broke his throttle housing, somehow managed to rig it up and fix it, and finish the race, which was awesome. It's hard to tell in here, but actually we managed to kind of keep the front end just a few inches off the ground on that whole climb, and it was pretty nice. I feel like it went right up. There's another little section of logs that we had to get over, and it's just the log spacing was like just about perfect to be a bike length. So by the time your back wheel started to get over the last one, your front wheel was already into the next one, which again for my skill level,
Yeah, let's do that.
a real
I'll help you.
challenge. I was already tired. I'm on a trail, and this is the third obstacle I've hit in like 20 minutes or in a half hour. I usually have enough gas to like do this, but this was obstacle number 98 after, an hour of riding. That's Austin. Shout out to him. Austin and Chad were the two of the guys that I ended up linking up with and riding with quite a bit.
Pretty cool.
So there was actually a hill climb I was trying to do, and Austin pointed out that the course went this way instead, which was a huge relief because I was trying to go a different way. And I'm just here putting along, taking my time, trying to just cool off a little bit and regain my bearings. So the waterfall is right off to the right. That's what the pros did on Sunday. So this was the amateur line, which, I don't know. I looked at the waterfall and almost felt like that was the direction I should have went. It might have been easier. Of course, watching the Sunday event now, definitely not the case, but... No, this hill climb I spent a lot of time on. Went up and down probably 4 or 5 times, and on the 5th or 6th try, I got at least halfway and decided to just try and keep pushing my bike from there. This was definitely one of those climbs where you just needed to hit it the second gear pin. Just let the back tire propel you up the hill.
God damn it.
As you can see, I really struggled trying to get a good drive. I was doing a really bad job of like getting on the pegs and driving my weight through the pegs. I was getting better at not falling over though, and crashing every time I ran out of momentum. Yeah, there's a good example of getting a good drive up. I think right there, had I just kept it pinned and was able to keep my weight on the pegs and balanced, I think I could have got a better drive, but I ended up
No, it's okay.
just
It's
parking
okay.
my bike on a tree. Here I tried to do a few switchbacks, which sort of worked out, but then I made a decision to just go straight, and somehow ended up over that log, and it took me another 10 minutes to get out from that. But we eventually did make it to the top, basically just by pushing the bike. At this point I'm probably about 2.5, maybe almost 3 hours in. So by the time I hit this next checkpoint, which is at the top of this hill, yeah, that's not how to do it. Too much looping. A little bit softer on the throttle so it stays up there and doesn't come back down. I did get it on the second try, so that made me feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Good?
Yep, you're good.
Water on the back of the four-wheeler if you want to dump it.
Thank you.
You're doing good.
Thank you. Like 10 more minutes. Hey, you doing good?
I regret not getting some water there. I was
You shouldn't
out of
apologize.
water.
No apologies. No.
It's been on
Chad felt so bad that he didn't
No,
stay
hey,
and help me
telling you right now.
on that last hill. He
Yeah,
just like
nice
kept
job.
up and kept
I feel
going,
like I
and
earned it.
yeah, we already talked about that and agreed that he
I
should
did
just
too.
go.
I just looped it right out. Yeah.
So some of these descents were just super weird, and it was hard for me to keep both my feet on the pegs consistently. So I ended up just trying to use
Oh, yes.
letting the bike off,
It goes.
and then
It
using
goes.
the clutch as my rear brake. Alright, here's Chad giving a shot at one of these hills.
Ah, so
He's
close.
right at the top right there. He was so close to getting that one. I was happy with the drive off the bottom. And I think had I just gotten forward on the pegs and rode the tank a little harder, I think I could have just continued to ride it,
Not
but
so bad this way.
I think my arm strength just got so bad I couldn't really hold on. I was just tired. Yeah, I was starting to get pretty excited about some of the hill climbs. I was finally starting to get them. I also put a new header pipe on after the race. My current header pipe is just really smashed. And I rode my bike last night, and it felt like it had a lot more power. So I'm also wondering if maybe my header pipe being smashed was really kind of actually holding me back on some of those hills, because the bike wouldn't pull that hard. Some of the downhill sections were pretty wicked. And again, I think I was starting to figure out that I just needed to let the bike roll, and trying to use the brakes on the off camber was just causing me to crash. This creek stuff is fun. I like riding this kind of stuff. It reminds me of the riding I do in central Pennsylvania. It's a lot more rocky, baby head rocks. It's a lot of the stuff that I ride on pretty much all the time here. I was pretty psyched that I got up on that rock the way I did. I wish I just would have picked my head up though and saw what was going on here, because I think I just would have just rode off the end
Thank
here.
you.
And that would have made it a lot easier than trying to push it over the edge. feel like that time I actually had the engine producing power that I wanted to. I just didn't do a good job of like trying to ride it the rest of the way. I've also on the downhill started to just choose lines that were straight because I feel I had a lot of confidence braking in a straight line. Yeah, and then this was like some rock slabs here. It was so slippery. I'm pretty sure I bent one of my ASV levers on that fall, but it didn't break, and I kept working. I ended up heating up the lever actually the other day in the garage and was able to bend it back to its original shape, so it was good. And then here's Chad, just again, not physically picking up my bike, but also mentally picking up my spirits. And then he and I get through this section together, and we help another person through. Right now, I think we're coming up on, this is probably around 3.5 hours. I forgot to kind of check on the Onyx map where we were, but I usually download the Onyx map into Onyx before the event starts. That way I have it with me in case I need to see where I'm at. Again, these little gulches are pretty cool, pretty fun to ride. If I wasn't so tired, I would be going a little faster.
All right, well, I think I'm done.
So done? Austin, Chad, and I, we all got stuck here. We ended up helping, I think, 4 or 5 other people ahead of us just to get through it so that we can get through it. And then finally, we had our chance to get ourselves through it. And by that point, we had already, we were already a bit worked. But we made it. We rallied. That's Austin and Chad is currently riding right there. Chad also went down a road, Red Bull TKO, which on a relative difficult scale, I would say TKO is probably half as difficult as this.
Stud, dude. What a stud. Look at that fucking strong fucking.
There we go.
He was
Sorry, I'm blushing.
Those guys were all just being super generous with compliments and just like we were all best friends out there.
Let's get out here before the comes.
Yeah. Alright, watch out, Austin.
They do make an extra flywheel weight for the 300 XCW, which is what I'm on. I've been really tempted to get it, and I've been wondering if it would help me with some of those maneuvers like that. So I think around this point we're probably coming up around the 3 hours 40, 45-ish. By the time we get through this, we make it to one more hill climb, and then that's where we end up not going any further. So we're working our way from here to the, I think it's called the BC Bypass Hill Climb. Down that rock ledge and got turned around completely, was facing the wrong direction. Finally got pointed in the right direction again. Alright, at this point my GoPro battery is pretty much dead. I was also dead tired and ready to wrap it up. Waited out past the time limit and then just figured out my way back to the start and put my bike away and got undressed and drank a beer. Yeah, overall really nice event, really well organized. yeah, was really happy that I went to it. 3.5 hours from Central PA, so that's also great. Usually a lot of the races I want to go to are all much farther drive, so it was nice to have something a little more close. And yeah, super cool to see all the pros show up too, obviously, and do their thing. The Saturday Pro Prologue was a ton of fun to watch. I wish I was able to stay and watch on Sunday. I wasn't able to. So here's what's left of the header pipe. You can see it's really banged up. The new Oxa pipe on. And last night I felt like the bike was actually running a lot better. And then here's what's left of the Moose that I was running. I ran this, it was for the race, but I also ran it leading up to the race. I probably have 8-10 hours on this Moose setup. And then here's also what's left of the tire. So the tire doesn't seem like it's in, I don't know, I guess maybe it is in bad shape. Definitely got some knobs missing, and I just think overall my setup was just too soft for that course. Yeah, hope this video was fun. Hope you enjoyed watching, and yeah, any good riding tips, throw them down below.